This is the next installment of Vertify's Rapid Chat series, where we bring together some amazing minds from our network and talk about cool things. So this is our opportunity. I talked to Vinay a couple weeks ago, and I was super impressed with what they're doing over there at TrustRadius, and just kind of wanted to get him on camera and talk through some of those things. So Vinay, if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of a background on you and TrustRadius, and then we'll kind of roll through a few questions.
Well, Matt, delighted to be on your show. I'm a serial entrepreneur, originally hailed from the UK, but have been living in Austin, Texas for the last 20 years. First company was Convio, online marketing for nonprofits. We took the company public and then got acquired and started TrustRadius back in 2012 when I saw the need to bring transparency to how business professionals bought technology. We'd struggled buying technology in my last company and just saw the need.
Makes complete sense. So real quick, let's jump into a little bit about kind of consumer buying behaviors real quick, because you guys sit at a very interesting intersection for consumers and technology. So from your perspective, how have reviews changed that consumer buying behavior, both broadly and specifically for software and technology buyers specifically?
Well, I mean, you have to talk about the consumer space first, right? As a consumer, we wouldn't think about making a major purchase today, whether it's planning a vacation, certainly buying a physical good, or even choosing where we go eat with our family without really understanding what others think first. It's just wired as part of our behavior, and every major retailer today in their online presence incorporates reviews in terms of how they demonstrate and invoke trust with buyers. It's just a given. It's a standard. And, we see the same thing now happening in the B2B world, where particularly post COVID-19 and work from home, so much of the buyer's journey is digital. You could argue that it's 100% right now. And buyers are enabled to do their own research before they buy. They seek truth. They seek transparency. They don't want marketing spin and sales spin. And reviews, if they're high quality, afford them the ability to unpack and understand the whole truth about the products before they buy. So they use them across the whole journey in the discovery phase to understand which solutions they should be looking at to narrow down their shortlist, and then before making a final selection to make sure that they are going in with their eyes wide open.
Yeah, no, I know we're trying to do that as well, and definitely going down that journey. So let's just move on, stay on that similar topic real quick. So from my perspective, it would seem that reviews are the logical manifestation of net promoter and other customer satisfaction metrics specifically. Mm-hmm. Do you think online reviews have forced companies, I know they've kind of helped us in this area, but have forced companies to adopt more of a customer-centric approach because these reviews are getting out there and very prominent? What's your thought on that?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think, frankly, the move towards SaaS was the precursor of that, where you have to earn the customer's business year in, year out. They're not locked in with perpetual licenses. So the whole business model around SaaS was really the precursor to become much more customer-centric. But reviews have just accelerated a natural phenomenon that was already occurring, which is word of mouth. People would talk to each other. They'd find ways in community forums or meeting up in person to exchange ideas and compare notes. And public reviews have just accelerated that trend, where finding information about a product now is at your fingertips. All you have to do is type a little search term into Google, and lo and behold, you can get amazing transparency, and you can connect with people outside of your own personal network, but who live in the same kind of shoes that you do every day. So it's accelerated transparency. And, from a company perspective, the savvy companies aren't just thinking about reviews from how do I influence buyers, or maybe, how do I attract high intent buyers lead gen wise. They are actually thinking of this as a way to kind of learn and be more customer intimate. So we work with brands to actually tailor the questions they ask of their customers to both tell a competitive narrative, to influence buyers, but also to learn from those customer interactions, learn how they arrived at that decision, learn what's most important to them. And the most savvy organizations are feeding that data internally to all of their teams, to product marketing, to understand how to position and message. So rather than writing messaging in a vacuum, why don't you listen to how your customers describe the
Sure.
value of your solution? To inform pricing and packaging decisions, to inform customer success. Maybe you don't have an accurate gauge on the health of a customer. Do you really understand how they feel? And that's where it goes beyond NPS. It's not just a raw score. It's detailed qualitative feedback and scoring on multiple dimensions. And then product roadmap, right? Listening to your customers. No one data point is going to sway your roadmap, but if you have enough data points, it might influence what you prioritize. And so the best companies are really looking at reviews as a profound listening channel as well to inform the direction of their business, their positioning, their packaging, pricing, and their product roadmap.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. That's amazing. And I think everybody that just heard that can probably understand why we wanted to get you on video too, because you bring it all together, right? I mean, we are a product-led growth company, and you have to take in all of these different areas of consideration, and this being a narrative, this being a story that people are telling, and that should drive your product. And then everything else is a byproduct of that. So very cool. Well, let's get into data real quick. I'm wearing my most interesting data in the world shirt today. And that's, near and dear to my heart, right? So let's talk about intent data specifically. So from your perspective, how does intent data help guide marketing towards the right sales prospects specifically?
Well, both marketing and sales are expensive resources, right? Marketing from a budget perspective, where do you spend your ad dollars? Sales from a human resource perspective, where do you point SDRs or salespeople? So at intent data at its core helps you narrow where you focus. Now, there are three different types of intent data. There's first-party intent data, which is data derivative from your own systems, people visiting your own site, responding to your own marketing messages. That's a rich source of intelligence. There's second-party data from a platform like TrustRadius, where people are congregating in very large numbers on my platform. And when they visit TrustRadius, they're there with very strong expressed intent because they're doing diligence on products in your category. They might be looking at you. They might be comparing you. They may be looking just at competitive solutions. So that data both informs active sales cycles that you may be seeing or are about to see, because oftentimes buyers are completing up to half of their journey before they ever engage with sales. So there's the whole concept of pre-pipeline that we can help you reveal. There's also the opportunity to get into sales cycles that you're not today, but your competitors are seeing. And then there's third-party sources like Bombora, where you're looking at things like clickstream data on ads or search queries and so forth as well. Most companies now are amalgamating. Most companies who are playing with intent data are amalgamating multiple sources of data, first, second, and third party. The reason why I believe the true intent data from TrustRadius is so powerful, again, is the quality of the signal. The challenge with some third-party sources is that there's a high kind of noise ratio. A lot of people are just casually querying and looking at a topic. It doesn't necessarily express intent. It just defines that there's interest in the category. When someone comes to TrustRadius, they're often spending 10 to 20 minutes in a single session comparing products. You don't do that if you are casually evaluating, an idea. You're doing that if you're serious and you have real, true purchase intent. So the signal quality you get is extremely high. Number two, the intelligence you garner is really high as well, because we can tell brands not just here is a company who's in market researching you, but are you winning? Are you losing? How long has this buyer been searching for? What reviews have they been reading? Who have they been comparing you to? Are they swaying in your direction or swaying in a competitor's direction? I recently talked to one of my customers, and IKEA had been evaluating them, and they'd been evaluating them for a few months, but it looked as if they were leaning in a different direction to a competitor. And I said, I think you just lost this deal. And the person looked it up in the database and they said, yeah, you're right. We just lost this deal, but we don't. I said, you know who you lost to? And they said, no. But I said, I can tell you it's this brand, because I can see based upon what the buyer has been reading. So it brings a lot of transparency The analogy I like to use is I'm a movie fan. I don't know if you've seen The Minority Report by Tom
Oh,
Cruise.
love it.
Brilliant movie. But they have these these creatures called precogs who predict crime. I like to say we predict pipeline. So we can see pipeline before it occurs. And it's just because the buyer is doing their research before they engage sales.
Right.
The buyer only wants to talk to sales when it's, on their schedule, when they're ready to talk to sales. So the advantage of this kind of pre-pipeline data is, again, it gives you visibility. And it also potentially gives you intelligence about who you need to position against as well. And it gives you also, depending on the aperture of the data you get, the opportunity to enter into deal cycles you're not part of today, but your competitors are seeing. And that's just so powerful. If you could point sales and marketing squarely at people who have high purchase intent and who fit your ideal customer profile, that is a secret for success. Just the other day, we did a webinar with one of our customers, WatchGuard, who is in the firewall space. They spent $200 in advertising and influenced $1 million of pipeline by leveraging the intent data. That's a pretty high ROI.
Wow. No, it's brilliant. That's really high. That's amazing. Very cool. So do they call you Tom Cruise internally, or is that?
I wish. No, I'm not sure I'm jumping on any couches or acting crazy, but I certainly wish I had his stunt abilities.
Yeah, of course. I know. I was watching some of the new stuff he's doing for the new Mission Impossible coming out, so it's pretty exciting. Okay, so lastly, just real quick, you kind of talked about future a little bit, but I just leave us with some parting wisdom in terms of what you see the future of intent data looking like from your perspective for your customers and beyond.
I think there's three kind of major trends that we're going to see. One is there's going to be a continuous focus on making the data quality higher and higher, improving the signal to noise ratio. Frankly, that's still an issue in our industry where it's hard to discern the real deals from the somewhat interested deals. So that's one. Two, I think there's going to be an increasing focus on trying to garner intelligence from the signals again, who you're up against, and then actually creating guidance for the reps to position, tying the great content to the data. So again, the most progressive brands that we work with don't just leave their brilliant content on TrustRadius. They weaponize it. They take that content into their own channels. They feed it to their sales teams. They run marketing campaigns based upon it. They connect those dots. And I believe in the future, we're going to see some degree of automation to actually guide sales executives. Here's a deal that you're working. Looks like you're up against this competitor set. Here's the battle card. Here's the one pager that you can use to position against this competitor. And the third thing, which I know is near and dear to your heart, is integration. This data has to flow into other systems. We've recently announced a Salesforce connector that's in beta with a number of customers. But we very much believe a big part of our future will be integrating to other marketing systems and just making this data extremely operational. And that's, and making that data flow to all the requisite teams in the company. This isn't just about prospecting and advertising. This is, again, feeding customer success. So, for example, one of our big kind of top 10 software companies who works with us is using this data to guide their customer success and account teams on retention. And they've been able to improve their net retention rates from 100 to 122% by using this data to arm their reps where they're at risk of a churn or where there's an opportunity to kind of cross-sell another product. And so I believe that integrating data into the right systems to route it to the right teams to drive the right operational actions has huge amounts of value. And I see systems like Vertify playing a big role in that in the future.
Yeah, I hope we can find more ways to partner together and kind of work together in the future, because there's a ton of synergies, and just making sure that data is in the right place at the right time, and it's the right clean information that everybody's working off of across the organization, across the revenue team specifically. So, no, I mean, that's great. I'm sure we'll keep talking and find ways to work together. But I appreciate you taking the time today to jump on this quick rapid chat with us, and I look forward to future conversations. So thanks, Vinay.
Thank you, Matt.